Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will dive deep into the explosive fallout at Forrester Creations as Ridge lays down the law with RJ. Will makes a massive move for Elektra's heart and Ivy Forrester realizes her sinister ticking clock has almost run out. Let's be real for a second, the tension in Los Angeles is currently thick enough to cut with a pizza cutter. And the drama we are about to witness on Thursday, April 16, is going to change the landscape of this show for months to come. We have to start by talking about the absolute chaotic aftermath of the physical brawl between RJ Forrester and Will Spencer. You guys know I love a good old-fashioned soap opera fistfight. But the shoving match that went down in the Forrester Creations showroom was next level. It was raw, it was emotional, and it was dripping with decades of toxic family history. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the fight itself. It's about the reaction to the fight, specifically from Ridge Forrester. Ridge is going to pull RJ aside for a massive father-to-son lecture. And I honestly don't know whether to laugh or scream at my television screen. Ridge Forrester, the man who has spent the last 30 years turning the Forrester Creations executive suite into his own personal boxing ring and romantic revolving door, is actually going to look his son in the eye and tell him to keep his personal life out of the office. Can you believe it? That's crazy. Ridge is going to tell RJ that if he wants to remain a part of the family business, he needs to learn how to separate his romantic entanglements from his professional duties. I mean, the absolute hypocrisy of this man is staggering. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane, shall we? Let's look at the historical connections here, because the show is clearly banking on us forgetting Ridge's past. Do you guys remember when Ridge literally threw Rick Forrester out of a window? Or how about the countless times Ridge and Bill Spencer have engaged in violent, bloody brawls over Brooke Logan? Often, right in the middle of a workday, Ridge has never, not for one single day of his life, kept his personal life out of the office. The Forrester Creations building is essentially a monument to Ridge's inability to control his impulses. So for him to stand there wearing his designer suit acting like the ultimate moral authority is just wild to me. But let's analyze RJ's side of this for a moment. RJ is standing there grumbling about Will Spencer playing the victim and acting like he is some noble knight trying to protect Elektra. I think this action from RJ is completely wrong because it is rooted in pure entitlement. RJ doesn't just want Elektra, he wants to defeat a Spencer. He has inherited this toxic, deeply ingrained hatred for the Spencer family directly from his father. Ridge can say he understands why a Spencer would get under RJ's skin, but Ridge is the one who planted that seed. This isn't just about two boys liking the same girl. This is the continuation of a decades-long blood feud. Think about the history between the Forresters and the Spencers. Go back 10 years. Think about Bill Spencer dropping Ridge out of a helicopter into the Persian Gulf. Think about the hostile takeovers. The blackmail, the endless wars over Brooke, over Steffi, over Hope. RJ has grown up hearing that Spencers are ruthless, manipulative, and unworthy. So when Will Spencer steps into Forrester Creations and catches the eye of the girl RJ wants, it triggers a generational trauma response. RJ feels it is his birthright as a Forrester to put the Spencer boy in his place. And honestly, I am so sick of RJ's arrogant attitude. Many fans think RJ is just being romantic, but I think he is being an entitled brat who is using Elektra as a trophy in a family war. And you won't believe what happens next on the other side of town. While RJ is getting a hypocritical slap on the wrist from his dad, Will Spencer is making a move that is going to break hearts across the board. On Thursday, Will is going to sit down with Elektra and share some massive news. He is going to tell her that Melissa Dillon is officially moving out of the spare room at the beach house. Boom. Just like that. The ultimatum has been met. Elektra demanded that Dillon leave, hinting that maybe, just maybe, if Dillon was gone, she and Will could have a fresh start. And Will, in a desperate bid to salvage the love of his life, is actually going to do it. I need to pause here and do a deep psychological analysis of Will Spencer because my heart is absolutely breaking for this guy. Will is acting out of pure, unadulterated desperation. He feels like he is losing his grip on reality. First, he thought Elektra abandoned him because Ivy stole her letter and threw away the WE necklace. Then he finds comfort in Dillon, a girl who genuinely seems to care for him. But the moment Elektra dangles the possibility of a reunion in front of him, Will drops everything. He's willing to sacrifice Dillon's living situation and potentially her friendship just for a sliver of hope with Elektra. But here is the most agonizing part of this entire storyline, the plot twist that makes me want to pull my hair out. Elektra is sitting there giving Will ultimatums, demanding loyalty, demanding that he kick another woman out of his house, all while she is playing the field with RJ. And the ultimate kicker, Will knows, Will secretly saw Elektra kissing RJ. He saw it with his own two eyes, so why on earth is Will agreeing to this ultimatum? Why is he pitching a fresh start to a girl who is clearly enjoying the attention of his worst enemy? I think Will is operating under the delusion that if he can just remove all the obstacles, if he can just prove his devotion by kicking Dylan out, Elektra will magically snap out of the trance RJ has her in. Will is trying to buy her love with sacrifices. It's tragic. It's a classic soap opera tragedy. He is letting Elektra walk all over him because his self-worth has been completely shattered by the manipulation he doesn't even know is happening yet. He thinks he failed her. He doesn't know Ivy is the one pulling the strings. And let's talk about Melissa Dillon for a second. This poor girl is making a heartbreaking decision. She is overwhelmed by the pressure, overwhelmed by the guilt of knowing Ivy's secret, and she is packing her bags. Dillon is the collateral damage in this toxic love quadrangle. She is stepping aside, sacrificing her own comfort, because she sees how much Will loves Elektra. It reminds me so much of the classic Hope Liam and Steffi triangles from years ago, where one person always has to fall on their sword for the destined couple. Dillon is falling on her sword, and it is absolutely gut-wrenching to watch. But don't think for 1 second that Will's grand gesture is going to solve anything. Because the moment Will makes his pitch for a fresh start with Elektra, a dark shadow is going to fall over the room. Enter Ivy Forrester, the puppet master, the architect of all this misery. Ivy is going to hear about Will's plan, and she's going to have a massive problem with it. The spoilers reveal that Ivy is going to realize this might be her very last opportunity to scheme. Her window is closing. If Will successfully wins Elektra back, all of Ivy's hard work stealing the letter, hiding the necklace, pushing RJ into the picture will be for nothing. Ivy is going to panic. And when a Forrester panics, they get dangerous. Ivy is going to waste no time in sharing her stance with Elektra. She is going to swoop in probably with some perfectly timed manipulative comments about how Will is unstable, how the Spencers always break hearts, and how RJ is the safe, reliable, family-approved choice. Ivy's going to try to completely derail Will's pitch and keep Elektra's attention laser focused on RJ. We need to dive deep into Ivy's psychology here because her obsession with keeping Elektra away from Will is bordering on pathological. Why is Ivy doing this? Why is she so intensely invested in her niece's love life? You have to look at the history. You have to go back to Ivy's own traumatic experiences with the Spencer men. Remember her history with Liam Spencer. Remember how she was tossed aside, manipulated, and emotionally battered by the Spencer, Forrester love triangles. Ivy looks at Will and she doesn't see a young man in love. She sees Liam. She sees Wyatt. She sees the legacy of Bill Spencer. Ivy is projecting her own past trauma onto Elektra. She truly, in her twisted, manipulative mind, believes she is saving Elektra from a lifetime of misery. She thinks that by steering Elektra toward RJ Forrester, a safe bet, she is breaking the cycle. But I think this action is horribly wrong because she is stripping Elektra of her agency. Elektra is a grown woman. She should be allowed to make her own mistakes. Ivy playing God with her niece's heart is not protection. It is control. It is toxic, narcissistic control disguised as family loyalty. And let's not forget that Ivy has actually found an ally in RJ. This is the most unholy alliance we have seen on this show in a long time. RJ knows that Ivy is in his corner, and he is absolutely using that to his advantage. RJ doesn't care that Ivy is manipulating the situation, as long as it results in him getting the girl. It shows a deeply manipulative side to RJ that mirrors his father's worst traits. RJ and Ivy teaming up against Will is like watching a slow-motion train wreck. You know it's going to end in disaster, but you simply cannot look away. Ivy's going to push harder than ever on Thursday. She is going to try to convince Elektra that Will kicking Dylan out is too little too late. She will likely spin it to make Will look like he's only doing it out of jealousy, not out of love. Ivy is a master manipulator. She knows exactly which buttons to push to make Elektra doubt her own feelings. Elektra is already so confused, so blind to the reality around her that Ivy's words are going to sink in like poison. But here is the absolute best part of this entire spoiler update, the moment we have all been waiting for. The spoilers explicitly state that all of Ivy's plotting is going to blow up in her face before the week is over. Yes, finally. The ticking time bomb is about to detonate, and the person holding the detonator is none other than Daphne Rose Walton. Daphne is the unsung hero of this entire storyline. While everyone else is running around acting entirely on their own selfish impulses, Daphne has been agonizing over the moral weight of Ivy's secret. Daphne knows about the stolen letter. She knows about the necklace trickery. She knows that Ivy single-handedly orchestrated the destruction of Will and Elektra's romance. And Daphne has finally reached her breaking point. She cannot stomach the lies anymore. We have seen Daphne warning Ivy, telling her that the truth has to come out. But Ivy, in her stubborn arrogance, refused to listen. She told Daphne to keep her mouth shut. Well, Ivy severely underestimated Daphne's moral compass. Daphne has been leaning on Carter Walton for advice, and Carter, being the stand-up guy that he is, has likely helped Daphne realize that silence is complicity. If Daphne doesn't speak up, she is just as guilty as Ivy. The spoilers reveal that Daphne is going to confess to Elektra about Ivy's scheming in the coming episodes. I am predicting that this confrontation is going to be the most explosive scene of the month. Imagine the setting. Elektra is sitting there, torn between Will's grand gesture and Ivy's toxic advice, and in walks Daphne. Daphne, who has nothing to gain and everything to lose by getting involved, is going to sit Elektra down and lay it all out. Your aunt stole your letter, your aunt threw away your necklace, your aunt has been playing you for a fool. Just imagine the look on Elektra's face when those words finally register. Elektra has spent weeks feeling abandoned, feeling unloved by Will, feeling like she wasn't enough. And in one single conversation, Daphne is going to shatter that false reality. Elektra is going to realize that her heartbreak was manufactured. It was an illusion created by the person she trusted most in the world. This is going to be a monumental psychological shift for Elektra. All the anger she's been directing at Will is instantly going to pivot toward Ivy. And honestly, I cannot wait to see Elektra unleash her fury. I want to see Elektra tear Ivy apart. I want to see her confront her aunt and demand answers. How could you do this to me? How could you play God with my life? And what does this mean for the future? The spoilers say Ivy's attempt to keep Elektra's attention on RJ won't go according to plan. That is the understatement of the century. Once Elektra knows that Ivy has been pushing RJ on her as part of a master manipulation, RJ is going to be tainted by association. Elektra is going to look at RJ and wonder, did he know, was he part of this? Even if RJ didn't know about the letter, his alliance with Ivy is going to look incredibly suspicious. This revelation is going to send shockwaves through Forrester Creations. Think about the professional fallout. Elektra and Ivy have a jewelry partnership. How can Elektra possibly continue to work with a woman who sabotaged her personal life so ruthlessly? I predict that Elektra is going to march straight into Steffi Forrester's office and demand that Ivy be fired. Steffi's already on edge with the whole Sheila Carter situation. She does not have the patience for internal family sabotage. Steffi might just boot Ivy out the door and I would be cheering from my couch. But the biggest question of all is what happens to Will and Elektra? Once the truth is out, once Elektra knows that Will never abandoned her, will she go running back into his arms? Many fans think this will be the moment they instantly reunite, but I think it's going to be much more complicated than that. Let's not forget the mess that has been created in the meantime. Yes, Ivy manipulated them. Yes, the initial breakup was based on a lie. But the actions they took after the breakup are very real. Will grew close to Dylan, and more importantly, Elektra kissed RJ, and Will saw it. Even when the truth about the letter comes out, Will still has to grapple with the fact that Elektra moved on with his worst enemy incredibly quickly. Will is a proud Spencer. Can he truly forgive Elektra for kissing RJ? And can Elektra forgive herself for how she treated Will, giving him ultimatums and demands while she was being played like a fiddle? I think the fallout from Daphne's confession is going to be messy, emotional, and deeply satisfying. It's going to force every single character to look in the mirror and face the consequences of their actions. Ridge is going to have to realize that his son is not the innocent victim he pretends to be. RJ is going to have to realize that you cannot win a girl's heart through manipulation and family alliances. Ivy is going to have to face the cold, hard reality that her trauma does not give her the right to ruin other people's lives. And Will and Elektra are going to have to decide if their love is strong enough to survive the toxic wasteland that their families have created. This is soap opera storytelling at its absolute finest, guys. We have legacy feuds, we have hidden secrets, we have heartbreaking sacrifices, and we have a ticking time bomb just waiting to explode. Thursday's episode is going to set the stage for a May sweeps period that will go down in bold in the beautiful history. I want to know what you guys think. Are you on Team Will or Team RJ? Do you think Ridge has any right to lecture anyone about office romances? And how hard are you going to cheer when Daphne finally exposes Ivy's twisted games? Let me know in the comments below because I am reading every single one of them. The drama is escalating, the lies are unraveling, and nobody in Los Angeles is safe from the fallout. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single update as we cover every twist, every turn, and every shocking revelation. Until next time, stay bold, stay beautiful, and keep watching the drama unfold.